All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Another long week has passed, and it is our opportunity at the end of the week, to have a day of rest, a chance for us to come together, to feel a little sense of community, a little sense of peace and peace of mind, peace in the heart, and just get a little taste of eternity, as it were. So delighted to be here with you and celebrating Shabbat. So we're going to begin, as we always do, before we do all the formal candle kindling and things like that, just to check in with everybody and find out any good and blessing that has happened to you in the past week. And you'll share it with us, and we'll feel connected again. So I'll begin on the positive side. You all know 2 weeks ago, my son was in a car crash and came out of it just fine. And today, the car got hauled away by National Public Radio. It's a donation to them. And so I'm happy to have that out of my driveway. I'm a little more ambivalent about the fact that my dog barked at the guy who came to spray pesticide all over my lawn, but didn't bother to bark as someone pulled in and took away one of my cars. All right. I'm feeling like she's not living up to expectations in this regard. So I'm a little haunted by that, but I'm really not sure what to do about it at this point. She's been living with us for 6 years, and I don't think I can change, an old dog and new tricks. But getting rid of a junker car, it's a good and blessing, and your good and blessing doesn't have to be huge, but I'm going to invite you to share one. So let's start differently. We'll start over here on the right side. Anybody have a good and blessing to share with us? Please.
I've been accepted to not one, but 2 medical schools.
Mazel tov. Wow. And what are those 2 medical schools?
New York Institute of Technology, College of Osteopathic Medicine, and Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Michigan State University College of Human Medicine. Oh, wow. Okay. I'd go with Michigan, but that's me. All right. Who else has a good and blessing? Richard.
Well, I was the recipient of a phone call from a friend of mine from whom I've not heard on the phone for years. And not only that, we ended up talking 3 times.
Ah, isn't that wonderful to be able to connect with? That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yes, my dear. Oh, wonderful. You got elected to that? They must like you. That's fantastic. I see Betty or somebody else in the back. Oh, no, Sue.
Well, the small flood in the yard with the sprinkler, and they said, "No, we fixed that." And I took pictures.
Right.
And pictures, they came out, and I fixed it.
Hey, okay. So a second flood averted. Very good. All right. How about on this side? Oh, we've got a number. Sarah, we'll start with you.
So my teenage daughter Mia got straight A's, so as a reward, they got off-campus lunch, and she decided that she would be honored to allow me to pay for her to take her out. I got such a time with her.
Important concessions. Important concessions. Yes.
We got our 3rd shot.
Oh, very good. All right. So you are now duly fortified. That's fantastic. Yep, we're doing well. Oh, way in the back there. What's going on way in the back? Hey, it's always wonderful to have our beloved relatives visit. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. You shot your first bullseye in archery. That's fantastic. Do you know how many yards you were shooting from? No, okay. We'll just take it as is. That's great. Someday I'll have you come over to my backyard and we can do archery together. That would be wonderful. Anybody else have anything to report in the good and blessing? Oh, yes, Samson.
In early spring, my lovely wife, Casey, and I will be expecting our first child.
It's not quite a mazel tov at this point. It's called, the proper way to say this is mazel tov mirosh, which means an anticipatory mazel tov or a mazel tov ahead of time. We won't sing until the blessed event, but I think we can all rejoice and celebrate with you guys that you're going to be expecting. That's fantastic. All right, is that everybody has something to report? All right, now it's my delight to invite Betty Gross to kindle the lights of Shabbat. We're going to be in our purple Siddur or prayer book. And what's that?
Did you want to do anything?
Oh, no, we won't do a Nigun this evening. So if you would, Betty, page 1.
In the beginning, when the Spirit of God hovered over the darkness, God's first creation was light. As we kindle these Shabbat lights, we attest to the majestic of God's work and rejoice in his beauty. Light is the symbol of divinity and creative goodness. It is the outward sign of the inner spark, which God has granted each of us. In hope with love, we now welcome Shabbat with light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Praise are you, Adonai, whose presence fills the world, who hallows us with mitzvah and inspires us to kindle Shabbat lights.
May God bless us with Shabbat joy. May God bless us with Shabbat holiness. May God bless us with Shabbat peace. Amen. Shifting officially into action. So, how do we start Shabbat after we light candles? Well, with singing. And so we have an entire section to sing called Kabbalat Shabbat. It starts on page 2, and we start with the Bible and we end up in the 16th century, just how we roll. All right, so we're going to start out with Lechuna Ranena, Psalm 95 on page 2.
Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, nikadma fanav betodah. Naria, naria, letzor yishenu, bezimro naria lo. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai. Lechune ranena, lechune ranena, lechune ranena, Ladonai.
We're going to turn to Psalm 97 on page 3. And this one we'll do in English and reading. Adonai reigns, let the land exult and the many islands rejoice. Dense clouds surround God. Righteousness and justice are the foundation of God's throne. And God's lightning illumines the world, and light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright of heart. O you who are righteous, rejoice in Adonai and acclaim God's holy name. We're going to turn now to Psalm 29. This one we're going to sing, Havu Ladonai.
Havu Ladonai b'nei Elim, Havu Ladonai kavod va'oz, Havu Ladonai kivod shemo, Ishtachavu Ladonai b'hadrat kodesh. Adonai os le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom.
And we turn now to page 7, and forever the rabbis have imagined the coming of Sabbath like a wedding party, And so what we're going to do is we're going to welcome the Sabbath bride into our midst. And if you live in Texas, you know the rule that when the bride enters, everyone stands up and turns to face the bride. So when we get to the final stanza of Lecha Dodi, everyone should stand up. All right. We got 3 stanzas before that, but on the 4th stanza, we're going to be facing towards the door to welcome the Sabbath. Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, U'shemo echad, L'shemo tiferet letipila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, mihirosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshavat hila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela. Hi torari, Ki bahoreku miori, Yori, Shir daberi, Kevod Adonai ha'yiknikla.
The bride is coming. Please rise.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala,
Bnei Shabbat nekabela.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha uzola, Toch emunei am segula, Boi chala.
Lecha
Dodi lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Bnei Shabbat nekabela.
So come in peace, you crown of your husband, with rejoicing and with joy, to those who are faithful, a treasured people. Come, O Sabbath, come, O bride. We turn now to page 9 for the Hatzi Kaddish as we transition into our evening service.
Yitkadav yitkadash meraba.
Amen.
Yamad ifrach yirotev yamlik makute.
B'chayechon u'yomechon u'chayed b'chol Beit Yisrael. Bagala u'vizman karim b'imaru amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevorach le'alam le'amaya yitbarach
Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yituman v'naseh v'yithada v'yithale v'yithalal shemei dekudesha
Barichu.
leila min kol birchata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran delma v'maru. Amen.
And just as I've told you on Wednesday, it's polite to acknowledge everyone in the room. It's time to acknowledge God is with us. So on page 10, we rise for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch
Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
And now we celebrate day and night with Ma'ariv Aruvim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bitvoro Ma'ariv Aruvim. B'chokhmah shirim uvitunam meshane itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakokavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirotzono. Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'hoshech mipnei or umavdil dom uvein leila umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aruvim. And unending is your love for your people, the people Israel. Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts you have taught us. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and rejoice in your Torah and mitzvot forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life and the length of our days. And then your love shall never depart from our hearts. Blessed is Adonai, who loves the people Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem Kibon Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. And just as we talked about love before we said the Shema, we continue to talk about love with the V'ahavta.
V'ahavta
et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha v'hayu hadevarim ha'eleh asher anuchi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinamta levanecha v'dibarta b'shivtecha v'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha uv'shartam al zudnecha v'hayu utbininecha Avtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskaru vasitem kol mitzvotai vitem keloshim Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. There are things that we should never stop being grateful for. In a little while, we're going to say a prayer thanking God for our family and our Jewish heritage. We're going to say a prayer thanking God for the help we get throughout our lifetime. But here and now, we're going to thank God because once we were slaves, but now we're free. And that freedom means everything. So, page 14. True and enduring, beloved and precious, awesome, good and beautiful is this eternal teaching. This truth we hold to be forever certain. Adonai is our ruler, the rock of Jacob, shield of our salvation. Adonai, our God, you redeemed us from Egypt. You set us free from the house of bondage. For this, the people who felt your love sang songs of praise to you. Living God, high and exalted, mighty and awesome, who humbles the proud and raises the lowly, who frees the captive and redeems the oppressed, who is the answer to all who cry out. All praise to God Most High, the source of blessing, and like Moses and Israel, we sing this song of rejoicing, our most ancient song, Micha Mocha.
Yai rai 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 yada rai rai bim bum. Yai rai 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 yada rai rai bim bum. Yai rai 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 yada rai rai bim bum. Yai rai 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 yada rai rai bim bum. Micha mocha bailim Adonai. Micha mocha neder bakodesh. Norati lo tosefele, Norati lo tosefele, Yai rai 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 rai, yada rai rai bim bum, Yai rai 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 rai, yada rai rai bim bum.
All right, everybody take a deep breath in and deep breath out. It's been a long week. And now we've reached the end of the week and we've reached the end of the day just before the week draws to a close. So now we say the Hashkivenu and thank God that the day has come and gone. And we hope that the next day will be an even better day. So grant that we lie down in peace, Adonai our God, and raise us up, O sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel, and for your name's sake, be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. O God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful sovereign, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. O guard our coming and our going, that always we have life and peace. We praise you, O God, whose sukkah of peace is spread over us, over all your people, Israel, and over Jerusalem. And now we come to the prayers where we thank God for our family, for our lives, and for God's holiness. But before we even do that, we ask God to help us find the words for our prayers. Please rise, page 17, for the Amidah.
Adonai sepatati tahu fi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei HaKol, Besoker Kasei Avot Ve'imahot, Umevi Gula Limnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo V'Yahavha, Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mekayeh HaKol Atah Rav L'Hoshia, Mekapel Chaim B'Chesed, Mekayeh HaKol B'Rachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim V'Ropeh Kolim, Umatir Hasurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei apar Micha mocha bal gevuro umito mela melech levit umekayem umatzmiach Yeshua nemanata lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, Michaye Hako, Atakadosh, Vishmakadosh, Ukdoshim Vikol Yom Yalom Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You are holy, your name is holy, and all of us who strive to be holy daily sing your praise. Praised are you, the holy God. Please be seated. And of the 7 blessings we're reciting right now, right at the very center, we put the Sabbath, Shabbat, our time of rest, the special gift that God has given us. And so we're going to sing Vishamru on page 21. What's that? Yismachu, forgive me. Yismachu, the second prayer on page 21, or in the middle of page 21.
Yismehu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Yismehu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Mekadeshe Shevi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, V'yitangu Metu V'Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Upashpihi, Ratzita bo, sorry about that. Ratzita bo kadashto Shabbat, Kemdat Yami, Oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh b'reshit Shabbat. Zecher l'maseh b'reshit Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat v'koreh honeg Shabbat.
Every person has certain things they always need. And one of them, even though we don't usually acknowledge it, is to be accepted. That the things we do and the things we say be acceptable, and the hope that no matter where we are or what we're doing is acceptable. And so we say our 5th prayer, which is Reitzeh, asking God to accept our prayers. Adonai, our God, show favor towards your people Israel and lovingly receive our prayers. May the worship of your people always be acceptable. For you alone do we hold in reverence. And we need a general thank you to cover all the other thank yous we haven't said yet. So we give thanks to you, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our lives, the shield of our salvation for all generations. We thank you and we recite your praises. Let all the living affirm you and praise your name as the God of our salvation and help. Praised are you, Adonai. Goodness is your name. All praises to you. Now, usually on Shabbat, we don't ask for much because what we want to do is we want to just be content and happy with what we have. But we always ask for at least one thing, and that's peace. So we turn to Shalom Rav, and we're going to sing that to close out this part of our service.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasihim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adom lecho hashalom. Ki atahu melech adom lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasihim Leolam. V'tov enecha v'tarek et Amka Yisrael. V'kol het uv'kol sha'ah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasihim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amka Tasihim Leolam. Tasihim Leolam. Tasihim Leolam.
Let's take a moment now for silent prayer.
Say shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. V'himru, amen. Say shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'himru, amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom. Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oh, say shalom bimroma. Uyase shalom aleinu Ve'al kol Yisrael, v'himru, amen.
Now, I know a lot of our congregation tonight is rather young, but I think it's important that we pass on to you some of the ancient things that we know, things from the myths of the distant past. And so I want to tell you a story about a very mystical ancient sage that only the most aged among us will remember. This sage was named David Letterman. And this sage would communicate to us via this very arcane thing called broadcast television. And on a regular basis, he would give us a list of the most important things that had happened related to one thing or another. And he liked to do top 10, which is great because we have the 10 commandments. And so we have our top 10 too. But we also have another very important number, and that's 7, because we have 7 days of the week, 7 days of creation. And so we like to celebrate that number. So what I have for you here are the top 7 reasons why we should learn at least abyssal Hebrew, a little bit of Hebrew. So I'm going to begin. Reason number 1, Hebrew, according to our sages, is the building blocks of creation. Now, those of you who have studied chemistry, for example, might be under the illusion that the world is built out of this thing called the periodic table. But who knew that before chemistry was even invented, that our ancestors said there is a very special periodic table that is the building block of the world. And it's not how many elements? That's all, 108? I guess plutonium doesn't count. They're debating this, which is very Jewish, very Jewish. I think it's somewhere more like 130 something if you produce all the artificial things, right? Plutonium and Einsteinium and, oh, never mind. All right. No help at all. I thought I had, a plant in the audience here. All right. He's pulling out his Google. All right. Before they had a periodic table, the sages had a periodic table. They said that the universe was made out of 22 elements. And those 22 elements were the Hebrew alphabet. And according to the sages, everything in the world is built out of words that are formed from letters, and that the ability to make a world a better place starts not with oxygen and not with carbon or anything like that. It's the idea that we put together words and ideas and we build the world out of that. And so it's a very important tradition, according to our people, that Hebrew is always steeped in deeper meaning, and it has the power to build powerful things. For example, God called humanity Adam because we came from Adamah. We come from the earth. And so the best knowledge is a pun. What can I tell you? But always there are secrets to Hebrew that you should know. It's a source of potential growth. Reason number 2, Hebrew is the language of our people, the language of our Bible and our Siddur and Jewish study. The Torah is written in Hebrew, and learning Hebrew gives us access to thousands of years of historical and philosophical and even funny texts. Translations can never fully capture the nuance of the original language. To fully participate in our prayers, our rituals, our Torah, there is no more authentic and satisfying way to do that than in the original language. In fact, many of the religions that emerged out of Judaism have many confusions because they are relying on translations. 3, It's important because Hebrew reminds us it's okay to be different. In English, we read from left to right, but in Hebrew, we read from right to left. And the back of an English book is the front of a Hebrew book. Hebrew expresses a kind of mentality, and sometimes Western concepts seem even backwards to us when viewed from the perspective of our Torah. That's why it instructs us to teach Torah to our children and speak of them all the time. Rashi, one of our great scholars, right back there from about the same period as David Letterman, explains that Hebrew is such a core part of Jewish identity that every child should be taught. Otherwise, it's like we're sort of giving up on them. 4, it reminds us at the same time, paradoxically, that we're all very much alike. Living in America is weird. And I'll tell you why it's weird. Because Protestant Christianity dominates America, America is not really so familiar with the idea of a sacred language. But in fact, most parts of the world are. Okay, so look, if you're a Hindu, you know what the sacred language is. It's Sanskrit. If you're Buddhist, then the sacred language is Pali. If you're Islamic, you have Arabic as the sacred language. Catholicism has Latin, and Orthodox Christianity has Greek. By having our own sacred language, we're actually sharing in the religious experience of most people in the world. 5, Hebrew is the language of Israel today, and therefore the language of the Jewish future. After we lost our temple in 70 CE, we were scattered around the world, and Hebrew ceased to be a spoken language everyday life. However, when we returned to the land of Israel, visionaries revived the language. It may be the only language in the world that was brought back to life after 2,000 years of not being spoken on a regular basis. And that in itself symbolizes our ability to resurrect ourselves, right? We are the people who can seem to die, but always come back. We're like zombies. You know, there's no stopping us, all right? And it also reflects the eternal nature of our people. And learning Hebrew is a window into the cultures and values that continue to grow in the Jewish people. There's no better way to know than by learning the Hebrew language. And then finally, you know what? Jews like to sing. We sing everything. Music is so important to us. But as anyone who learns music knows, you can't learn it overnight. Oh, you can intuit a few things. You can get the hang of a tune just by listening to it in your head over and over again. But in order to do something really significant in music, like write music or play a musical instrument, you have to work at it. You have to do it every day. And those of you who are soon going to be inducted into the cult of Texas known as band, know that you will be marching and playing and practicing over and over again. But if you do that, you go from blowing out a few odd noises, squeaking out a few sounds, and suddenly you discover you're making something beautiful. And that's exactly what happens with Hebrew. In Hebrew, we start struggling to figure out what to say and how to say it, what each letter means and what it represents. But before you know it, you can make beautiful music. You can speak the beautiful language of our people. So that's why here at Kol Ami, we put so much emphasis on the idea that our young people should be able to recognize the Hebrew alphabet, sound out Hebrew sounds, and be able to say the words, the building blocks of eternity and the building blocks of ourselves. We build ourselves as Jews by learning Hebrew. And so it is such an exciting time to be able to have the third graders here, because the third graders are starting the initiation into their Hebrew learning. And it is my privilege to invite up our director. No, I'm not inviting you up. Sisterhood is presenting. All right. I am nevertheless going to call attention both to the director of our education and our third grade teacher. These wonderful people volunteer their time in order that your children can grow as Jews. So we are so thankful to them, and we're calling the sisterhood up. Come on up, Sarah. All right. Now, I need all of our third graders. Here we go. Come on up, third graders. I need you up here. All right. There we go. There we go. All right. Gosh, look at you all. Look at you all. All right, let's put at least one over here on the other side. There. Oh, scoot over. There we go. There we go. All right. Okay. Now, first of all, what an attractive group of Jews. I mean, absolutely awesome. But I want to tell you that we tell stories about our past. And we were talking about how we're slaves in Egypt and now we're free. It's the message we always tell ourselves. But some questions come up, the rabbis ask, and one of them asked was, why? Why did God think we were worth saving from slavery in Egypt? And there's an answer the sages give. They say that there are 4 things that we did that made us merit being able to be rescued. And one was that we had Hebrew names. We kept our Hebrew names. Now, each and every one of you probably has your street name, right? Where you hang out when you're just hanging with your buds and your posse and all that sort of thing. And you use that, but you also have a Hebrew name. Does everybody know their Hebrew name? Yes, oh, good. Oh, okay, good. Just want to check. So that's one thing that makes you worthy of being redeemed. And the second thing was we saved our language. And even though we lived among the Egyptians and we no doubt spoke Egyptian, not that we spoke in hieroglyphics and pictures and things like that, but we also preserved our Hebrew language. And because we did that, that also made us worthy. Now, there are 2 other reasons why we're considered worthy, but I'm not going to mention them because they're irrelevant. All you need to know is your Hebrew name, and the fact that you continue to learn Hebrew makes us Jews and makes us the future of the world. We become part of the future by continuing the traditions of the past. And so we want to present you with a prayer book, a Siddur. You've been practicing already on your Hebrew, I know you have, but this is your formal initiation, and the prayer book is what you're going to be learning. And we're going to give you a prayer book. It will have your name in it. You can use it to practice until you get to Carnegie Hall. And then also remember, however, there's one other thing that goes with it, and that is that there's something sweet inside for you, because we want you to always remember that learning is sweet. All right. So, Ms. Muniz, would you call out the people as they earn their?
I will. Sherry Silverman.
All right, Sherry, you come on over here. All right. Here we go. Yeah, exactly right. Who's next?
Hila Silverman. Hyla, I'm sorry.
All right, Hyla, you come on over here next to your sister.
Sarah Lieberman. Did you put them in order?
Yeah, well, of course, in Hebrew order. Right, backwards.
You're like
All right.
Alexandria Lieberman. Samantha. James Hunter. And Rebecca.
Come on this way. We constitute our line. Good. Doing great. Perfect. That's absolutely awesome. What did you do to your thumb, dear? Oh, well, I hope it gets better. So, we are delighted to be able to share our special language with you. A sacred language, but also the language of an entire country. A community that we're connected to, even though they're thousands of miles away. And that's pretty awesome too, because not everybody is connected to a country outside of the United States, but we all are. So I hope you enjoy and learn Hebrew. It takes time and you have to be patient, but it's going to reward you. So we want to honor you by offering a blessing as you begin your Hebrew studies. Are you ready, everybody? Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. This is in Hebrew, by the way. Did you notice that? Yeah. Okay. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God be gracious unto you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May God be compassionate upon you, and may God grant you light. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God always turn favorably towards you and grant you with the most important of all blessings in life, peace. And let us all say, Amen. And because this is a great occasion, we want to say, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yelanu, 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 Uvechol Yisrael, Yelanu, Yelanu, Uvechol Yisrael, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yelanu, which means good fortune and a good sign. May it be so for you and us and all the people of Israel. And let us all say Amen. Amen. All right, guys, you can head on down now. Thank you for starting your Hebrew studies. All right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our announcements. Now you get to come up. All right, now I get it. It's the distribution of labor. I get it. All right, there you go.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right. Announcements. Sisterhood Vodka and Latkes. It is almost Hanukkah, just in case you weren't aware of that.
Yay, Hanukkah!
Sisterhood members, please join us with your +1 for a night of vodka and latkes and fun. Sunday, November 14th at CKA, we'll be celebrating Hanukkah the Sisterhood way. The event starts at 4:00 p.m., so don't be late. Sisterhood will be providing latkes, a latke topping bar, and other snacks. Please bring your favorite beverage to share. Bring your own BYOB. Okay, BYOB. Gotcha. All right.
So-
Bring to just be yes. If you bring for yourself, you bring for others.
A question of clarification.
Clarification.
Yes, so it's going to be potato latkes.
Potato vodka?
Does it have to be potato vodka?
No, it's pretty much whatever.
Oh, okay, just checking, just checking. Okay, a little inconsistency, but that's all right.
Please RSVP to Carly Wisniewski. You can find her email in the post on the website. And remember, it is never too late to sign up for Sisterhood. You can find more information and the link to sign up on the website. Thursdays, please join us for our new Jewish cinema series, Thursdays at the Theater. We will be showing Jewish horror from the beginnings of cinema up to today. We've already had a few sessions, but it isn't too late to join. Each session will be held on Thursdays, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. with a screening followed by discussion. Popcorn and soft pretzels will be provided. You can find all the additional details on each movie and a link to sign up on the website. And as always, you can find all the specific details for these announcements and anything else you may need on the congregation website. All right. We like to think about those in need of healing here at Kol Ami. So if there's anybody in your life that you know that is in need of a little extra prayer and thought, please share the name with us. Just raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. May the ones who blessed our ancestors also bless Harry Anthony, Eli Arts, Joyce Bloom, Natalie Bovino, Linda Bullard, Sandy Cook, Dave Cook, Gordon Ellison, Michelle Griffith, Jody Hoffman, Deb Kaufman, Lauren Koenig, Alex Koenig, Phyllis Lorelli, Shirley Lunsford, Charles Menk, Herbert Paley, Paul Redwood Jr., Kira Richardson, Sandy Garber Rubin, Adrian Sandler, Danny Santos, Myra Schusler, Dave Seaver, Jeff Tilley, Maria Tilley, and Mark Womack. You can find the Misha Berach on the back of your pamphlet or on page 40 of your purple book. Samson, you're not singing? All right. Sing with me. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Rimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Joshua, my dear, thank you. All right, now, are there any older brothers or sisters that were required to be here with the third graders? Anybody? Hold up your hand. There's one. There's another. There's another. There's one. All right. You guys, come on up. I need you. I need your help. Come on. Yeah. No. Yeah. There was a reason you were brought tonight. Come. We can't finish the service without you. You'll be stuck here forever. Isn't there another one? No? Okay. Younger ones can come too. Would you come up? No, that's all right. That's all right. You're excused when you're younger. All right, ladies and gentlemen, turn to page 82 and please rise. Come on, you two. Open that for me. Pull out and away. And away. Page 82.
Mishabeach Adon Hakol, Lateku al Yotzer Reshit, Shelo Asanu K'Oyeh Haratzot, Velo Samanu K'Mishkafot Adama, Shelo Sam K'Kenu Kahem, V'Gor Aleinu K'Kol Ha'olam. V'nachnu korim u'mishtachavim modim lifnei melech malchei hamalchim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yoser haaretz u'moshav yikaro v'shamayim imao u'shkinatu zo V'go peneromi, Eloheinu היום, ויראת היום והשבותה אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד.
There you go. Go ahead and close. All right. Yasher Koach, more power to you. Boom. And to you. Boom. Off you go. Please be seated, everyone. Vayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. And now, as we always do when we gather together as Jews for prayer and community, we take a little time to remember the people who've passed away. Some of them pass away recently, some of them at this season in years past, and we take time to speak their name and remember them, and also to show our love and support to the people who miss them. So we're going to begin by asking, is there anyone observing Shiva, anyone who's lost a loved one in the last 7 days? If you have a name, please share it with us. All right. Here at the Congregation for Shloshim, thinking of people who've died in the past month, we're thinking of Sandy Lenzner, the stepmother of Michelle Tell, and Jerry Dietz, the stepfather of Elizabeth Kennedy. Both of them died in the last 30 days. Anybody else lost someone in the last 30 days? And then we come to yahrzeits. This is the anniversary of death for people. They might have died many years ago, but still we remember them and honor them. And in this congregation, we like to think of Norman B. Collins, Erwin Friedman, Charlotte Gibson, Juliet Graber, Kenneth H. Kurgan, Robin Lenzner, Stephen Levine, Sarah Martin, Charles Mason, Hiram Paglia, Rose Richland, Mark Tavano, and Marjorie Wynn. What's that? I'm sorry. Is there anyone else who needs to add a name to our yahrzeit list? All right. Well, for those people who do remember them, we hope that the memory of them grows sweeter with the passing years. We, on the other hand, want to show our support and caring by turning to page 85 and rising together to recite Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma difrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, b'galal v'zman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'elam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba mim shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mroma, uyasei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. And let us say, have a seat, folks. So our closing song, what can I say? We sing about everything when we're Jews. We sing about our holidays, we sing about our history, and even when we want to say something theological, we'd much rather turn it into a song. So if we go to page 93, we're going to sing our theology in the form of Adon Olam. Page 93, and if you're using the transliteration, it's at the top of page 94.
Adon
Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra li'et nasa b'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimlok nora v'hu haya v'hu hoveh v'hu yiyeh batifara v'hu echad ve'en sheni lehamshir lo v'chafira b'li reshit b'li tachlit Alo ha'oz ve'ha'misra v'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chevli b'yetzara v'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi b'yom ekra v'yachado afkid ruchi V'yeti shan v'ya'ira v'imruchi geviati Adonai li v'lo yira. I place my soul in God's hands when I sleep and when I awake, and though my body should fail, I rest in peace because Adonai is with me. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to do Kiddush and to celebrate with sharing of bread. Would you be willing to do Kiddush, or you'd like me to do it? I'll do it. Okay. All right. So even though God made the seventh day and made it sacred, God granted us the right to bless it also. So we do that with wine, a symbol of joy. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tehila lamikre kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. L'chaim, to life. Now, a little bread. We also have some prepackaged snacks out there waiting for you. So, oh, but we don't have our trusty carrying handle. It's okay. That's all right. So we're going to put it out on the table, and there'll be some tongs for you to get your bread from it. Are you ready, everyone? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Let's take this out here.